The band Memphis Lightning has been around for 12 years, and this January will mark 13. And a little bit about the band is the band originally started as the Blue Jets. We were based out of New England, started getting some recognition, and started touring. And the first place we ever toured nationally was Memphis, Tennessee. When we got back, we were so excited, and then we found out that we had to change the band name because we were going to get sued if we didn't. So we had 30 days to come up with a brand new name. Now, the band originally started as more of a traditional blues band, and we started adding some rock and roll and some older country. Started as a cover band. We started adding some originals in. Well, Memphis was definitely the place where we took a lot of influence. So Memphis was a great name. And then the energy part. Known for our show, put a lot of pack in everything. So Lightning came out. And I have to say it was one of the best decisions we made. And also the fact that during the last 13 years, the last 5 years, we've been touring nationally. And as of April 2022, we'll be going international with the Sea of Blues Cruise, which is going to be a lot of fun. We have bands such as Larry McRae, Tommy Z, and Steve Harvey that'll join us. I started guitar when I was 8 years old. I got my first guitar, and actually about 4 years of rehearsing and practicing. I had several different teachers. Red was my first teacher, but my first official teacher was a guy by the name of Mike Hayward. He used to play with Brownsville Station and Bo Diddley back in the day. And if it wasn't for him and several other guys, Scott Hughes, and I wouldn't be playing. And then at the age of 12 was the first gig I ever did. And at that time it was with the Blue Jets, which ended up becoming Memphis Lightning. And that was one of the greatest days ever. Being a guitar player, there's so many different people that have inspired me and been big influences. Now, as for just people in general, I do have to mention my dad Red one more time, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here and playing. Now, as for, it's more true in more ways than none. And the other thing is, as for players, I always consider myself like a blues man at heart. If it wasn't for Eddie Kirkland and Magic Sam, I wouldn't be here playing. And one thing about me is I play a Telecaster. And a Telecaster, a lot of people know, and some people may not know. Some of my favorites include the late great Danny Gatton and Roy Buchanan. And if it wasn't for them and a guy by the name of Neil Levang, he was a guitarist on the Lawrence Welk Show. Let me tell you, first time I saw the video of those guys play, it blew my mind. And it was like, I want to do that. And to be able to go out and share my music and be able to blend all these different things together. Because I never wanted to be one thing. There's more than one color in nature. Gatton said that great. And I just want to be able to blend everything. And hopefully people can hear a little bit of my inspiration and also hear where I try to form some new stuff by blending everything together. We realized that we were only going to get to a certain point staying around home. We had gotten really busy. We did the Weekend Warrior thing, and next thing I knew, we started playing during the week. We started getting house gigs. We started making more money. We started having a draw. But I realized that if we didn't leave our home state, we weren't going to be able to sustain this. And also, I want to be able to bring our music to everybody. And the only way we're going to do that is if we hit the road. Which, I won't lie, the road is not the easiest thing in the world, but I do love it. And I really appreciate the fact that when you're on the road, it's just each thing is going from show to show. Everything else has to get handled before and after the tour. But you're just focusing and focusing on getting to the next show. And to see everybody's expressions and how they feel. To me, I work off the crowd. So when the crowd's having a good time, I'm having a good time. And I realized when you tour, you get to see all these new faces, and then when you come back through, you get to recognize them. And to me, it's just forming the Road Warriors fan club, which is now part of our family. If it wasn't for music, I wouldn't be here. I've had a great life. There's been certain things that inevitably I couldn't help. I'm actually, this month marks 5 years cancer-free for myself. being on stage and getting, I don't know if gratification would be the right way to say it, but I really love what I do. And to know that other people like to hear and see what I do, like, for me, that's the greatest thing in the world. Money is nice, I won't lie, but if it wasn't for the feeling I get with music, I wouldn't be here. The best way I can explain that is if it's 4 or 5 people in the audience screaming our name to the North Atlantic Blues Fest where we had 10,000 people and we had a standing ovation and people were screaming our name and cheering us on, and that that is the greatest feeling in the world, I won't lie. Well, the greatest feeling in the world is to be able to play on stage with my dad. And one thing about it is we know each other so well that we tend to go off of feeling and nuances. And what I mean by that is whoever plays with us in that band, we want on that same level. And we're very fortunate to have Stephen Jeremiah play drums with us. And we have some great fill-ins too when he can't make the show, such as Scott Phillips, who played a fantastic show with us last night. And one thing I love about playing with these guys is they feel the music as deep as we do. And I speak a lot with my eyes, with like body movements, and the way I come across, where I'm going to look over at you and you instantly know what I'm thinking. And that's one thing about me and Red is when I zig, he zags, and when he zig, I zag. We just go with each other, and it's so nice to not even have to worry about where the next thing's going to be or where it's going to happen. We just know that we're doing this together, and that in of itself is just the greatest feeling to me. But one other thing I do want to say is I think some people understand how heavy that is. Some people don't, but for me, I've been in this band going on 13 years, and the only full-time band I've ever been a part of, except for being a special guest or doing a little bit of studio work here and there, has been Memphis Lightning. And I don't ever want to play with anyone else except for my dad.
I feel the same way. The running joke in our family was,
oh, tell him,
couldn't
Red.
find a good guitar player, so I had to make one.
And you did a damn good job.
And there's a lot of joke in that, but there's a lot of truth in there too. And you're seeing the result of all the years of hard work. And I realized you had touched on this earlier, and just to elaborate on what he had just said, 12 years ago when he was 12 years old, he sat in with us and did a 1 set. Now the deal was, I'll give you X amount of money.
Oh, he's sharing the secrets.
Set. So he's like, okay, and this is coming out of my pay, but I'm like, no, the guys are good enough to have him on the show. We're going to have some fun. So he does a set. He's beaming with a grin from ear to ear. Turns around and goes, can I stay up for the next one? And I'm like, sure. Finish the next set, and he goes, by the way, do I get twice as much money now? And I'm like, he's going to be all right. He's going to be just fine. And that was where it started. He had 5 weeks from that point to learn 25 songs at 12 years old to play the main blues festival in a trio format to carry a band. And I was playing drums at the time. That was my main instrument, and our original bass player, Rick McLennan. He had 5 weeks, and he did it. And I have a picture, and it's in a frame. And the photographer that took that picture 12 years ago, half of his life, also the same photographers that took some of the pictures at the North Atlantic. And I realized they have caught pictures his entire career. So there will be some photos coming out at some point that'll encompass his entire career, and everybody will be able to see from where it began in photos to where we are now. And it's an incredible journey, but to realize we're actually going to have access to all of those, and then the world is going to be able to see it. I was part of that journey, and it was amazing, and I can't wait for us to be able to share that with everybody.
And to add to that, not only did they get photos of my first ever show to the North Atlantic, they have gotten pictures of at least one show a year from the beginning to current. And we already have them set up to take photos for our summer tour. And one thing I really want to do is keep that going, because for me it's the coolest thing to be able to look back and actually go year to year and see the difference. I mean, I've changed a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And it's just one of the greatest things to be able to relive the history. We are so proud to be on Sweet Tone Records, based out of New England. And we actually have our 4th record coming out with them. It's our 3rd studio record called The Road Is My Home. And that record will be coming out at the beginning of April. And we are very excited for that. One thing that we really wanted to do on this record was express our love for all types of music. And what I mean by that is you're going to notice some tracks on there, such as The Road Is My Home, the title track. That song, which was so cool, was it gave me an opportunity to incorporate playing dobro and playing cigar box guitar, which some people will know from our live shows, others won't. That record showcases, I'd say there's 3 songs, including The Road Is My Home, Boxcar Boogie, and Keep On Going. And all 3 of those are more acoustic based. And they allow me to kind of express a different side of my playing, which that was a big deal on this record. I wanted to showcase everything from the in-your-face, high-energy rock and roll show to soulful music, which, I mean, everything we play is from the heart, and that's a big deal. And we actually had some special guests on that record, and each guest we had was tailor-made for each song. And that's one thing, is we wanted to incorporate some of our friends in, but I don't want somebody on a record just for the sake of their name. I want them on the record because I believe in what they do and they add to that song. And for us, the song You Got Nothing on Me featured our good friend Albert Castilla, who does a face-melting solo in the beginning and the outro of that, and also J.P. Soares, who really brought a nice swamp vibe to Full For You. So that whole record, I am just so excited and waiting for that to drop. And also, I want to mention in January too, we do have a single from that coming out, which will be the title track, The Road Is My Home. Kind of give everybody a taste of what to expect when that record drops. All of our records, out of Trouble, Live and Raw, Borrowed Time, and The Road Is My Home, all of those songs except for one has been written by myself and Rad. We can write all the time together. And what's nice is if he comes up with a concept, I can run with it and give you the finished product. I'm good with writing words, I'm good with writing music. Sometimes it's the story. Now, when you take like an experience or something that's happened in life, that's easier to do for me, because that I can just roll with it and I can have a song done within 20 to 30 minutes. Have it charted out and everything. But there's those special songs that you write, and when we're trying to come up with a story to convey to people, my dad is the genius when it comes to that. I can roll with it and I can give you words, but this is the man that makes the story happen. And one thing I love about songwriting too is it gives you a chance to put your personality out there on the line, because when you're writing music, this is permanent. People are going to listen to it. Some people are going to love it, some people aren't going to like it, and other people live by it. I want to talk about the song Great Day. When that song was written, it had an odd meaning for me. I wrote it when I was just diagnosed with cancer. So I was trying to look at the positive things in life, and I really wasn't that positive, if that makes sense. I was kind of writing that song to help me get through. And since then, I don't know how many people come up to us, at least one at every show. Somebody comes up to us and tells us about how they were having a rough time, something wasn't going right in their life, and they listen to that song Great Day, and they'll start their morning with it. And that to me is the greatest feeling in the world, to know that something that we wrote that came from our hearts can be enjoyed by so many people. And it chokes me up to think about it, that one of our songs could have an impact like that. And actually the first record we ever recorded as a full band was in 2017 with the record Trouble. And that record, for me, it was the first time I got into the studio and was able to really explore that side of things. We recorded demos and helped record with friends of ours and guest on a track here and there, but that was my first experience in the studio, and I realized it's really big difference in playing live. Are you ready? Are you ready? Live, you put everything you have out on the table. You don't know what's going to happen, and if something goes wrong, you just roll with it because you're having fun. In the studio, it's a little bit more meticulous, and I'm going to actually turn this over to Red for a second, because Red has a lot more experience on the studio side of things back when he was a session drummer and worked with record labels such as Deluge and Telarc. Would you mind going into that for a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. Live, it's the energy between you and the crowd. It's the best feeling in the world to know I get to do what I love with who I love with our own music. And looking over at my son, watching him do what he does every night. As a father, I am so proud beyond I can't even tell you. Also as a father, watching the path my son had to walk to get to where we are right now, and I'm so lucky to have him, and I'm so thankful that he's here. And to combine that with the work ethic and the talent that you see, what you see is real. I see it every day. I live with it, and it's the most amazing thing in the world. So for that, I'm blessed.
What you want me to say?
Studio, it's there for life. It's permanent, and it's a whole different game in the studio. So you're there to capture the energy and the that you have live, and you need to put it to tape, and it has to be there, and to convey that, and it has to be right. So when you get done in a studio, after a day in the studio, I'm much more mentally tired than I am when I do a live show, because live, you're not thinking. You're not worried about the next, oh, I gotta catch that hit here and there. No, you're playing the song and you're not thinking about it, you're feeling it, and you're just letting it go. And that energy goes to the crowd and they give it back. And it's this nice circular flow that goes. And we love what we do. I look over every day and I say, thank you, Lord. I'm thankful for what I get to do with who I get to do it with. And the fact that we're now bringing it to people, outside of our original home state, and to see the reaction grow, it's just absolutely tremendous, and it's a gift.
One thing I'd also like to say is that first record, not only was it the first time that we got to go in as a band and fully record, that record has since sold just over 70,000 copies. So we haven't hit the 100,000.
No.
I'm waiting for it, Red.
No,
I'm waiting for it.
We're close. We're getting there.
But let me tell you, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world. And one thing I always love to do is when we're in the studio, we like to keep it as fresh as we can, and we'll just keep recording. And there's actually a lot more songs that are already, as we would say, in the can and waiting to come out. So I'll be excited when those come out. So the year 2021, it definitely was an odd year, but it was a great year for us. And let me tell you, right after starting to get through the pandemic, from the year 2020, we lost a lot of shows and we lost our touring. So we ended up making the decision as a band to relocate to the great state of Florida. And let me tell you, that was the greatest decision that we've ever made. We have made so many new fans, friends, and just kind of built the Memphis Lightning brand. And one thing about this year is we were still able to, as of right now, if we don't book any more shows, we're going to hit the year at 150. And next year, we already have 150 shows on the books. But to tell you about this year, so far, we've done things that I never would have thought we would ever have done. We've played sold-out shows. At least, I would say 50% of all our shows this year were sold out or maximum capacity. And the ones that weren't, we're very fortunate to have a very good crowd. One thing is, we actually were able to do something that has been a lifelong dream of ours, is the North Atlantic Blues Fest. Being from the state of Maine, it's one of those things that every year we're part of the pub crawl, but to be able to be on the main stage, it's reserved for national and international artists, and it was a dream of ours, and I honestly didn't know when or if that would ever come true, and it did this year. We were able to play in front of the largest attendance that they've ever had. And for me, that was one of the greatest things. And that tour we did, the Road Warriors tour, not only did we do that, we did 28 shows in 32 days, which is the first time I've ever done anything of that nature. To not have, time off in between shows. You go to the next gig, and to me that's the greatest thing in the world. Is I know some people will get tired, and I won't lie, I'm tired when it's all said and done. If I got 10 shows in a row, I got 10 shows worth of energy, and I'm going to be going, and Red can tell you that too. But the thing is, at the end of that, then you need a couple of days of downtime, and then you're back to doing it again. This year, also, we were able to do a sold-out show with a big guitar hero of mine from Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. Bill Kirchen did a show with us, and it was the greatest thing in the world because Bill opened up the show playing his flat-top acoustic, and we had Deke Dickerson on guitar. And after that, we got up and did our show, and then after the show was done, we brought Bill back up and we did 20 minutes of all his old hits. And to me, to be able to play with one of my big heroes and another Telecaster man, to me, it really topped off how great of a year this really was. I feel like next year is going to be a very big year for us. There's some big news coming, and also we're very excited to be part of the International Blues Challenge that's going to happen in Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to be representing the Suncoast. One thing that we really want to do when we go to Memphis is showcase our roots in blues music. If it wasn't for blues, we wouldn't be here. Eddie Kirkland was a big influence on myself. My dad toured with him and was given the opportunity to back some of the best in blues music. And I really want to be able to capture the tradition of that, but also keep true to the Memphis Lightning show. And one thing I really want to do is I want to start off by hopefully bringing everybody back to where we began. I want to showcase everything that I've learned, and from there kind of build the show up. The other thing I want to do is showcase everything that's going to be on that new record as well. Being able to bring everything down to play right from the soul, and hopefully reach out and grab people in that way. And then roll back up and just give it everything we got. Because one thing is I always treat every show as if it's our last. I don't ever mail in a show. I don't ever mail in a performance. It doesn't matter if there's 4, 5, 10,000, doesn't matter. No matter how many people, I want every show to be the best we can. And in Memphis, you only have 20, 25, or 30 minutes, depending on the set lengths. And it can be hard to put a full show into that amount of time. To be able to bring people from a nice feeling to bring them way down to an uproar. And the Memphis Lightning show is about being able to experience every feeling you can within the amount of time that we're given. So one thing I'm really excited to do is to be able to bring an entire night's worth of energy into just that short set. I can't tell you how great this is going to be. And the fact is, over, I think, between 200 and 250 bands normally converge, and yet bands competing from all different states and countries. And I'm really excited to see how this year's going to go, especially with the pandemic that's happened and getting people back out there. But one thing I will say is no matter who places, no matter how the competition goes, what we're going to do is we're going to go have fun. We're going to make more friends, make new contacts, and just express everything we do and hopefully build the brand. Well, one thing that has come about being in the band and being able to tour nationally and internationally is we've been very blessed to pick up some endorsements and sponsorships. And the one thing is, for me, or Red, or the band for that matter, to take an endorsement, we really have to believe in the product. I know some people will just take it for the sake of taking it, and there's no problem with that. I just honestly can't do that. If I don't believe in the product and I don't use the product, I don't want my name associated with that. And I'd like to do a quick shout out to some of the endorsements. One being the newest one I just received yesterday with Mahalo Amplification. They're based out of Florida, and they make some of the greatest tube guitar amps around. And actually the amp that I use is 100% custom built for me. There's not actually another one out there like it. It's been completely tweaked and to my specifications, and I'm really excited for that. I'm very proudly endorsed with Eric Brown Guitars, who works for New England Custom Guitars out of Farmingdale, Maine. This guy builds the best, anything you want, anything you can think of. He really is an artist at heart, and he really puts that through in his guitars. I'm very proudly endorsed with In Tune Guitar Picks, and they're actually out of Ontario, Canada. A great company. They will literally do anything for you. And one thing that I'm a big fan of is all the companies are easy to get in touch with. It's more like being part of a family. I'm not very good and tech savvy in certain things, so being able to just pick up the phone and call a friend and say, hey, when you get a chance, could you send me more of these? Or, hey, could you maybe work on building this for me? It's the greatest thing. And a couple more brands to throw out is SIT Guitar Strings out of Akron, Ohio. They make some of the best guitar strings. And I'm not just saying this because my name's on the package, and same thing with the In Tune Guitar Picks and the Levy guitar straps. The thing is, I was so blessed to be able to be part of their families and to have them to sponsor myself. And Mahalo, one thing really great about that company is they're actually endorsing the entire band. So you're going to see Mahalo amps and cabinets used by Red and myself. And just to kind of recap on all that is, the greatest feeling in the world is to know that a company backs you, to know that they believe in you just as much as you believe in them. And that is the greatest feeling in the world. It's the same feeling that we get with sharing our music to the people. And the fact is that now I have the equipment to be able to share my music with you. And if you check out MemphisLightning.com and check out our calendar, you'll be able to see our entire tour. In general, we're going to be hitting the road a lot more this coming year, which I'm looking forward to. We got 3 weeks in January. We got a 5 to 6 week tour in the summer. Got a couple of weeks off. We're back on the road for 4 weeks. Got a couple of weeks off. And then we have a bunch of 1 to 3 week jumps that we're going to be going to brand new locations that we haven't been yet. And it's going to be a lot of great things. And like I said, make sure to check out MemphisLightning.com because we got big news coming.